This is TNN.
Welcome back to TNN, the Trump News Network, the only news network that's 100% true and 112% factual. Today, on our very first broadcast of the TNN, we're going to be talking about one of my personal favorite countries. It's up there with my amigos down south in Mexico and my amigos in the north, Canada, and of course, my favorite country of all time, New York City. That's right, we're talking about Colombia, okay? We're talking about Colombia today. Very, very, very huge country that we're talking about. And talking about this first, we're going to yours truly, me. We're talking about the attractions.
Unfortunately, there are no Trump hotels in Colombia, but there are some religious, cultural, physical, and natural attractions in Colombia. Let me name a few. Las Lajas Sanctuary, located in Nariño, Colombia, is a dangly church built over a Colombian gorge. This place has a spectacular setting. Almost no churches and cathedrals around the world could viably compete for the title of most beautiful or most awe-inspiring setting. A great cultural place to go to visit is the historic center of Santa Cruz de Mompox. This place is an enchanting city that takes travelers back in time to the era of the Spanish conquest, filled with multiple squares and colonial structures. The Church of Santa Barbara stands as one of the highlights of this entrancing city. A great place to visit is Monserrate Mountain. At the top is a church, making it a very popular pilgrim destination. There are also restaurants and cafes to allow visitors to spend time at the top, absorbing the incredible panoramic views over the entire city. It is especially pretty over the Christmas period due to the lights and decorations. The coral island of San Andreas is a diverse ecosystem of reefs, geysers, groves, and caves. Needless to say, it's perfect for diving, snorkeling, and outdoor exploring. This paradise has multicolored warm waters and 12 mangrove forests, and the beach cedars of Johnny Cay are like natural condos for beach birds.
Wow, those are some amazing attractions. Not as good as the Trump Hotel, though. Now, talking about some of the amazing peak travel destinations in the great country of Colombia. We're turning again to me.
Hey, it's me again. Now it's time to talk about peak travel destinations. On the island of San Andreas, there are many beaches. However, there is one place in mind that will shun your eyes: Playa de Sprite. This place has lots of hotels to stay at and restaurants to dine at. It has 4.5 out of 5 stars on TripAdvisor, and the reviews are excellent. You can swim, snorkel, jet ski, and so much more. Another destination is the Hilton Bogota, the number 19 out of 273 hotels in Bogota. This place makes you feel like an appreciated guest, and the neighborhood of the hotel is very safe. In the hotel, there is free Wi-Fi, free parking, breakfast buffet, a pool, and a restaurant. The location of this place is amazing because it's only walking distance away from entertaining areas.
Wow, me, what an amazing speech. You do know I love the beach. That's where I got this amazing natural shade of orange from those beaches in New Jersey. Now we're going to go on to one of my personal favorite ones that I'm doing a lot to stop. We're going to the current events, also run by me. Even though many of y'all don't know, right now in Colombia, we're going over a major cocaine crisis, one that hasn't been this bad since the 70s and 80s. Basically what's going on is we have these cocaine farms that farm cocoa. Okay, and when in these cocoa farms, you grow the plants that are used to make cocaine. And the United States just recently discovered, of course, I discovered it, let's make that clear. I discovered the new cocaine farm that's over 400,000 acres of just these plants that the Colombian people are using to grow cocaine. Okay, that is no bueno, as they like to say down there, when you're growing that much cocaine. Let's talk about what cocaine can do to you. The cocaine crisis is an epidemic in the United States, and it has been since around the 1970s. Cocaine messes with your brain, and it results in many deaths. It also results in gang violence, as many people are trying to buy and sell the cocaine with the drug lords, and all just one of the very, very many illegal drugs that have been illegal for a long period of time. But let's also talk about this. Last year, these cocaine farms, almost 45% of the cocaine that's been illegally smuggled into the United States came from this single cocaine farm that's over 400,000 acres. By the way, did you know 400,000 acres is bigger than the entire city of Los Angeles? Yeah, you heard that right. It's bigger than Los Angeles, and it's all growing cocaine. So what the United States, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get them to stop. Now you may be thinking, Donald, you're such an amazing and wonderful outspoken person. Why don't we just burn this down? Well, see, here's the problem, okay? That cocaine is worth $10 billion. You heard that right, $10 billion. That's more money than I've ever incurred over my amazing and luxurious career. $10 billion. You cannot burn that down, as cocaine gives many, many people in Colombia jobs and is a major, major exporter in the economy. While it is illegal in the United States, we are trying to stop this. You can stay tuned to find out how we're going to stop this, even though the cocaine epidemic has no end in sight.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Thanks me, as my Mexican friends down south like to say, that was interesante, okay? Now, we're going to be talking about a little bit of data, and this data, you know, is approved by me because it sounds fancy, very fancy sounding. We know that way we're getting the most accurate data because it's not coming from the fake news networks. You know it's real because it's coming from the real news networks. Literacy rate in Colombia is 91.4%. Compare that to the amazing United States literacy rate, which is 99%. For those who don't know, literacy rate is how many people in the population can read. Next up, we're talking about the population density. In Colombia, it's 43.85 people per square kilometer. While in the US, it greatly varies from state to state, but the United States complete average is about 150 people per square mile, rounded up. And the life expectancy in Colombia is 74 years old. Compare that, very comparable to the United States, which is 78 years old. And finally, the infant mortality rate, unfortunately, it's 10.6 babies per 1,000 babies that will be dying very soon. Well, at the United States, it's only 6.86. That is your data for the day. Now moving on to an iconic figure. You know, I do consider myself somewhat of an iconic figure. I mean, I am president of the United States. Let's also talk about, I'm gonna let y'all guess this one. This man is considered a bad hombre in the United States. Good personal, very, very personal friend of mine. That's right, if you guessed it. He's the king of cocaine, Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar was a Colombian drug lord who, by the way, made over $21.9 billion over his lifespan, which I think is a lot more than I made. I don't know, you know, I did make a lot of money. He's known as the king of cocaine, okay, as a Colombian drug lord. His cartels would take cocaine and illegally smuggle it into the United States. It's said over the 1970s and 80s that his cartel would smuggle over 80% of cocaine smuggled into the United States came from his cartel right there. That man knows how to do business. Pablo Escobar, in the eyes of the Americans, is seen as a criminal and a person who is a bad hombre, okay? He would hold people for ransom and get tons of money from it. The Colombian government absolutely hated him. But what people don't know about Pablo Escobar is he was more of a Robin Hood, okay? Very, very generous person. He would take all the money that he made and he would put a lot of it back into the community, building soccer stadiums and hospitals and homes for the poor. He would take money from the rich and give it to the poor, just like Robin Hood would. Okay, and because of this, his hometown in Colombia absolutely loved him. When he would hide out in his hometown, the Colombian people would help look out for him and would warn him if any police would come by to try to find Pablo Escobar. Unfortunately, on December 2nd, when Pablo Escobar was involved in a shootout, he was unfortunately killed by the U.S. Army soldiers after the U.S. sent people into Colombia to try to finally capture and kill Pablo Escobar. The United States thought that this would end the Colombian cocaine crisis, even though it did anything but worsen it, because Pablo Escobar's cartel died out. When he died, the entire cartel died out. A new and even worse cartel called Colombia Cartel would start coming in and would start taking over the Colombian cartel. Either way, killing Pablo Escobar did almost absolutely nothing in result for the United States. except cause a lot of harm for Colombian poor people, as the new cartels would not put back into the community. When Pablo Escobar was shot and killed, over 225,000 people attended his funeral. Very sad. So the next time you're thinking about Pablo Escobar, you might be thinking that he's not a good person. Just remember though, what he took from the rich, he gave back to the poor, and was well liked all across Colombia. Wow, me, that was a mouthful. Alright, going on, let's start talking about the cultures also talked about by me.
Thanks for that transition. In the world of culture for Colombia, there is a holiday called All Saints' Day. All Saints' Day, also known as All Hallows' Day, Hallowmas, Feast of All Saints, or Solemnity of All Saints, is a Christian festival celebrated in honor of all the saints, known and unknown. That is, all of them who attended heaven. It is a solemn day of the Catholic Church celebrated annually on the November 1st. It shouldn't be confused with All Souls' Day, which is celebrated on November 2nd and is about those who have died but not have attended heaven yet. All Saints' Day was formally started by Pope Boniface IV. Another holiday celebrated in Colombia is Independence of Cartagena Day. Independence of Cartagena Day is celebrated on Monday, November 11th, because on November 11th, 1811, Cartagena became the first Colombian city to declare independence from the Spanish. While celebrations focus on the city of Cartagena, this is a national holiday, as the independence of Cartagena is seen as a key event in the struggle for freedom in Colombia and other parts of Latin America. During this day, people like to go into the streets and big groups of dancers dance for everybody and just have an amazing time. Festivities include parades, especially so in Cartagena, when the largest and most colorful parades take place, ending at Plaza Trinidad, the location where Cartagena's independence was declared. The type of food that is eaten by Colombians are bandeja paisa, white rice, red beans and rice, cooking banana, chorizo, blood sausage, and chicharron.
And now it's time for a break.
Wow, that food sounds delicious. Let me just make sure y'all all know, though, that the best taco bowls are made at the Trump Tower. Now going on, we're talking about history, okay? Talking about the amazing and wonderful history of Colombia.
Information about Colombia. Despite its name, Colombia was not founded by the explorer Christopher Columbus. He has never set foot in the country throughout the history of Colombia. In fact, in 1499, the territory was discovered by his companion Alonso de Ojeda, who arrived there from nearby Santo Domingo, landing at Cabo de la Vela. Santa Fe de Bogota was founded in 1538 by Gonzalo Jimenez de Quesada. The name of the city comes from Bacata, a resident of the Muisca Indians. The indigenous people that lived in Colombia were the Muisca Confederation, Quimbaya Civilization, and Terrona Chiefdoms. The first president of Colombia was General Simón Bolívar y Palacios, leader of the revolutionary forces, who up to the point was titled Supreme Chief for his role in the revolution. The following day, Congress elected Francisco Antonio Zia Diaz, first vice president of Colombia. The current president of Colombia is President Iván Duque, is serving a 4-year term from August 7, 2018 to August 7th, 2022.
Wow, I'd be surprised if anybody's still awake after that snooze fest. Now going on, let's talk about a personal favorite thing of mine. Very, very, very important to me. Yeah, that's right. You guessed it. We're talking about money.
In Colombia, the GDP per capita in Colombia averaged $9,743.79 from 1990 until 2017, reaching an all-time high of $13,524.95 in 2017, and a record low of $7,533.52 in 1990. Colombia has many natural resources, which includes emeralds, platinum, petroleum, nickel, copper, hydropower, and uranium extraction. Colombia's key exports to the U.S. include oil, coal, nickel, gold, flowers, coffee, bananas, tropical fruits, textiles, and clothing. This has enabled a strong long-term trade alliance between the two countries. The U.S. is Colombia's largest trading partner, while a major export of the U.S. is cars and automotives.
You know, I own many mansions, okay, but some of them that I do own, I have one located in Florida, I have one located in Hawaii, I have one located in Vail, and I have one located in New York City. And you know what separates all these $1 million mansions from each one? We know what it is. It's the physical, geography, and climate. And you know what? That's what we're talking about next.
Colombia covers a land of 1.14 million square kilometers, roughly the size of Texas and California combined, making it the fourth largest South American country in area after Brazil, Argentina, and Peru. For a country of its size, it has an astonishing variety of landscapes, including the dense rainforests of the Amazon and the Pacific coast, the vast grassland plains of the Llanos, the lofty Andes Mountains, and the Caribbean islands of San Andreas and Providencia. Colombia has a typically tropical climate with no change of seasons. Climate is related primarily to elevation, and there are defined annual precipitation patterns. Extreme weather in Colombia is rare, but the country is susceptible to weather El Niño or La Niña, when temperatures in the Pacific Ocean rise or fall, respectively. Colombia's main environmental problems are soil erosion, deforestation, and the preservation of its wildlife.
And that concludes the most amazing broadcast of all time of the Trump News Network, the only news network that's 100% true and 112% factual. I'd like to give a big thank you to my two minions, Nick Lee and Nick Clark, or the Ninions as people like to call them. And I'd like to give you a happy and wonderful day. Just remember, keep the news networks graded. We'd also like to say, before this broadcast and the one right after this one, are fake news. Do not trust them, they are so fake.